This is really an open space to share. We can talk about anything. I come with the intention of, hello, Kristen. Ooh, from the US. Hey, which state? Which state are you joining in from? The topic, ooh, Miami. So fun. The topic is all about intuition, but there's so many levels and ideas and topics we can talk about just with the umbrella idea of intuition. Connecticut. Today I was reflecting on this actually this morning. Oh, Karina, welcome. I was reflecting on this topic of intuition this morning, and something came to mind, and I just love this, and I really wanted to bring this as a topic to discuss today, which is the importance of being authenticity. And I had this idea, I received kind of this idea of, I feel like maybe deep down, it's really hard to be intuitive if we're not living an authentic life. So, for example, I have this example. We are doctors, for example. And then we receive this intuitive hit to buy a camera and do photography or something. But it's so drastically different that it's just like, what? Or to be a photographer as a profession. And it's so vastly different that it may be harder to step in and go, yeah, this is my calling, this is my passion, this is what I want to do. If you're unhappy being a doctor. But if you already are in alignment with what brings you joy and what you're doing is authentically you, and it's not from parents, societies, teachers, whatever, telling you what to do, but influencing you a lot, and you kind of realize, oh yeah, that's not my passion. I don't want to be a doctor. I want to go into more of creative arts. As a young child, this is what I was drawn to, but my parents didn't allow this or whoever, or I didn't think I could earn money doing this or whatever. But if you naturally start moving into a direction of alignment with your life, then when you receive these intuitive hits of like, hey, I want to go buy a camera and take more photography courses or, do this as a profession, then it's less of a shock to the system. It's like natural because you're already more in alignment of who you are and what brings you joy. So I do want to talk about authenticity today. This is a subject that's really interesting for me. Authentic with our dreams, authentic with our desires, authentic with our feelings. Danny, I asked Danny, I've seen you a couple times in my lives, and I asked, like, how are you doing? And often we ask this question, we don't really answer authentically, and you just mentioned, that's always a loaded question. Feelings of hope, yet worry, gratefulness, and probably many others. And that's great. Can you imagine going through life and asking people this question, but really being authentic with wanting to know the answer? Like, how do you really feel? Like, how are you by? It's like, really, how are you doing today? And today will be very different than tomorrow, be very different from a couple hours from now. But not maybe with everyone, but with certain people you feel safe with, saying, yeah, right now I'm not doing okay. Or just being really authentic with feelings going in. Sometimes I ask this question to people who are very logical and in their mind a lot. And I say, how are you? How are you feeling? I often ask, how are you feeling? And they're like, feeling? I don't feel anything in my body. They're so in their head. They live 100% of the time in their head. So again, it's a nice practice. I think to tap into intuition, it's first tapping into the body knowledge. How are you feeling? Dropping in. How am I feeling? How often do you guys ask this of yourselves every day? How am I feeling today? How is my body feeling? Is it energized? Is it tired? I'm someone who's very headstrong, very stubborn. I have a goal I'm going to do. this much yoga every day, this much, and then sometimes I wake up, like today I woke up and I went, yeah, I'm doing my hour of yoga, but I want to create my own sequence. I want to create my own music and sequence today for what my body needs. And every posture and movement, I followed what my body wanted instead of listening to someone else or following another yoga class. Just having as many opportunities as possible to practice for little things, little daily things. Like, what do I need? What do I need? Yeah, a self check in throughout the day. Exactly, Seeds. A self check in throughout the day. And that is ultimately, you just said it perfectly, Seeds. That's really like the ultimate way to receive intuition. Asking yourself questions every day. What do I need in this moment? And your body may tell you, your mind may have a, clear message. You may see an image. Um, you may have a smell something like, oh, what do I need right now? And you may smell pine needles. And it's like, wow, I need to go to that forest or that, like who knows how intuitive messages come. I think we have access to all of the clairs, all of the ways, to all of our senses to receive intuitive insights. And some we may be stronger for than others, but I think we have access to them all. So, yeah, this is the question I want to talk about today is authenticity. Are you guys maybe authentic when you answer, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? Are you authentic with that? Sometimes not, it's hard to be authentic 100% of the time. It's actually, that's the thing. I do a lot of, I've gone to a lot of authentic leadership training courses, radical honesty workshops, facilitation training, all of the things with authenticity and relating. And there would be groups of people. We'd spend a weekend together. Really conscious communication, authenticity, and we would practice. It was a practice of like, let's be authentic 100% of the time. I always come here and I'm like, hey guys, how can we live intuitively 100% of the time? But let's go first to the base of like living authentically. And it is extremely hard. I may dare, if not impossible, if not impossible, it's exhausting to be like, how are you doing today? And have to really like stop, check in, answer authentically. Maybe that person who asked was the one who's triggering you. How do you say that? How do you say this nice? How do you authentically speak about that? It's something. And I remember a therapist who I really, really adored. He said it's like impossible to be authentic 24 hours a day. Like we just can't. Like we can't be authentic 24 hours a day. It's sometimes we just like, yeah, I'm fine, and we keep going with our day. We can't stop and have a big heart to heart or session, like a communication with every person we come in contact with. Sometimes we just have to digest things on our own. Yeah, of course, constant. It depends on who's asking. So I want to read what Danny was writing here. So you were saying, I say this to people all the time recently. We get asked that question, and so many times people say, good, how are you? Then the other person says good, and they go about their day. No authenticity, no honesty, unless they really are good. But we can go deeper. Of course we can go deeper, and it's your choice. A simple answer could be, life can be rough, but today is going well so far. It's short, simple, and more authentic. Yeah, and that's the thing. The more we're authentic, the more we allow others to be authentic. So it's like, yeah, I'm great today. Okay, I'm great too. And then we continue on. We don't really know what's going on in the other person's life. But if you can be like, thanks for asking. Again, it always depends. To a stranger, they probably won't hold space. And if it's something that's really vulnerable for you, be careful. You don't need to open your heart and share all the vulnerabilities all the vulnerability to everyone. That's not being authentic to yourself as well, being authentic to your needs of like, I need to feel safe before I open my heart and share what's going on in my life. So it's about, first taking care of yourself. But with the few people who you do really want to share how you're doing, it could simply be like, thanks for asking. And to be honest, in this moment, like, and to drop into like, I'm not doing that well. Or like, I'm having a really hard day today, or I have a lot of anxiety today. And then it may open up without expectation, but it may open up vulnerability for the other to go, wow, like I'm going through some stuff too. Because I think in life, we're often going through our own things and not realizing what's happening for others. We're just in our own bubble and world and like, struggles and doubts and worries and anxieties. And it's like, well, how's your earthly experience? That's a great question. We could start asking that to humans. Like, hey, how was your earthly experience today? Oh, I love that. I've never said that. I've never said that to anyone, but I'm kind of tempted now to try it, and I'll check back on how people respond to that. Constantly, sometimes they will ask how you're doing, but they don't have time to really listen how you're really doing. Exactly. It's all about time too. And that's the thing too. It's like checking in with a person. Hey, to be honest, I would really, really love to share how I'm doing with you. Let me know when you have time to hear it. How often do we say that? Not often. Because it does for the listener, it does take space. You need space and presence. And I want, again, I love talking about intuition. And so even in life, we ask questions, but we need to be in a receptive space to hear the answers, to listen. So we can ask a question and our life can be super busy, but we need to create some space in our life to go, okay, like I want to drop in and listen. I think someone on one of my lives says, oh, JD, like, do you kind of will intuition on and like you just ask a question and receive it? And I'm like, not really. But I tried last Sunday. I was doing some chanting, this Bhakti yoga, kirtan chanting, which I've been doing for 9 years. A group of people, we sing, and it's just beautiful. And I receive a lot of intuitive guidance then. And I was really trying to will intuition. Like I was eyes closed and like really super open, like extra open, like, okay, I'm open to guidance. I'm open to guidance. Open to guidance. And I didn't receive anything. Like no insights, no aha moments, no like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Like it was just, I was like, okay, I guess I can't just like, pressure intuition. I can't say like intuition now, I have to just be in an open state, but not demand it. Demand it. Yeah. So, yeah, Danny is saying, yeah, thank you for bringing that part up too. Really, it's connecting with each other. Love it. Sometimes they will, yeah, not really, yeah, have time to listen. Yeah, exactly. Christine, I don't go out much. But I love to ask people such as cashiers, doctors, how are you really doing today? It's amazing the responses I receive and how it affects me positively. Do you have a story you'd like to share about that, Christine? I talk actually a lot about cashiers on these lives because we're talking about authenticity of like, and following our path and our true path. And it's not necessarily what we do for a living. It's our essence. It's our being. And so I've met cashiers who you go through and they are so kind and they're so talkative and they're just like, how are you? And they completely shift my energy, or I see them shift other people's energies. And then that person leaves and now their energy is in a maybe higher vibration, and then the ripple effect, they go out in the day and maybe you go home and you're nicer to your family or to your coworkers or all of the things. But it's weird. I've never had anyone, Christine, say the opposite of shifting that cashiers. That's cool too. Can you imagine? Cashiers see so many people in a day. Like I don't. I work from home. I'm not interacting with that many people in a day. But they are. And to shift the cashier's energy, not shift, but like, yeah, it could be shift positively, have impact, have positive impact with the cashiers. And then they, in turn, have that ripple effect outward. So, welcome everyone who's just joining. This is all about, any questions are welcome about intuition, how to live a more intuitive life. The more intuitive, the more I trust my intuition and live with my intuition, the more magical my life is. Every day there's some, I was thinking about this morning during yoga, going, my future is so unknown. Yes, I make plans. Yes, I have goals. But it's almost futile. All of the plans I've made this summer have crumbled, have changed, and now I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. Like, let's say in a couple months from now, I have a month off, and there's infinite potential in any plan I'm doing. Like there was literally plans, like big events, big festivals, big trips, big things, and they all just crumbled. And it's like, wow, there's this space that's so open, and I'm realizing how impossible it is to plan. It's like I have to really step in the mystery of, because I'm renting my house. So I actually have to leave. I'm like homeless for a month. And it's like, there's infinite potential of where I can go. I can go anywhere in the world. I can take my car. I can drive anywhere. And with that much possibility, it becomes almost destabilizing. Like, wow, what can I do? What should I do? And I feel like I'm just having to drop in more and more to the mystery of life and going like surrendering to where I'm guided, because there's too many choices. And I think a lot of people, I'm gonna generally speak for, I guess I'm gonna generally overgeneralize for people who are on these lives on Inside Timer. This is a type of mentality. People are drawn to this app for a reason, and we're all into, I imagine, personal development and mindset and self-improvement. And I imagine a lot of us have a lot of opportunities. We may think we don't. We may think like, I'm stuck. I have a mortgage. Yeah, I have like tons of bills. I have tons of, I'm all in that too. And we do have the choice. We do have the choice to sell everything and go on the road. We have the choice to take our car, move across the country. We have a choice to go on a trip. We have credit cards. There's some countries that don't have credit cards. Like we do have possibilities to do a lot of things. And for me, it can be almost overwhelming, the choices. And so I really have to drop in and surrender of like, where am I being guided? Where are the messages? And I'm curious. I'm kind of, I'm going to be offline for a month. So in September, I'll let you know what happened. But at this moment today, in a couple months from now, I have no idea what's going to manifest. And it's like, even if I plan things like I want to do meditation retreats. I may not be accepted. Like I apply for these things. These are things I want. And sometimes I'm not accepted because there's a wait list and all the things. So I have no idea what's going to happen in a couple months. And really, it's uncomfortable, even for me. And I really deeply trust my intuition. And I'm learning like, I have to really be patient. And I really have to just surrender to the mystery of life. Okay, you guys are writing a lot. I want to continue with Christine. Thank you, Frankie. I'll read yours. I want to just continue with Christine's answers here. It was my doctor I asked this to. She actually was having a really bad day and she opened right up. It was the closest I have felt to her, and the care I receive now is much more. And she spends more time with me ever since. Previously, I didn't like the care I was receiving. This made an incredible difference, and I was able to tell her how much I appreciate her. We all just want to be appreciated. Even our plants and animals How often do you appreciate your plants and animals? Let alone, okay, humans. How often do you appreciate the humans in your house? You know? But even, um, yeah, she probably, just this morning I was teaching a client, and he manages 400 employees, pays them very well, like super neat, super cool boss. And I asked him, I go, do your employees ever thank you for giving them work? And he like burst into laughter. He's like, no, of course not. They just are always constantly asking for more raise and a higher raise and a higher raise. And it's like they don't even drop in and go, thank you for hiring me and giving me this like amazing job. And he's responsible for like, I think 400 families plus his own. It's crazy the amount of imagined stress he has to manage in a day, and people just don't ever share their appreciation to him. So yeah, it's like, who could we appreciate more? Who could we appreciate more? Uh, Danny, what do you think when you can sense you are feeling a lot of emotions, but you're unsure which ones they are or from what source they are coming from? This happens to me and I want to honor them, but sometimes I don't know how because I don't know why they are there. If this question makes sense. Yeah, I feel this a lot with anxiety. I feel anxiety and often like as a ball in my solar plex. Everyone feels anxiety, maybe in different places in their body, some in their stomach. A lot of people feel anxiety in their stomach. Oh, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. So happy to be back on your live. So happy to see you again. Thanks for being here. Frankie, I didn't forget about your question. I'll come back to you. No. Anyone who writes a question, I'm going to read it and honor it for sure. And again, please ask any questions. So, Danny, you asked something really interesting because I feel this a lot. I don't know what emotions your feelings and emotions you have, but for me, it's a lot of anxiety. And I'm always like, what am I anxious about? What am I anxious about? And I'm trying to like dig deep of like, where's this coming from? And really, at the end of the day, I don't think it matters. So we learn this a lot in meditation. I've been doing like 13 years of Vipassana meditation, and it's about not attaching to the thoughts, not attaching to the feelings, just like sitting with them. We sit with them for like an hour or 2 hours at a time, whatever's coming up, and it's just letting them come up, rise up, and pass away, and not being stuck of like where they're from. It's like, who cares? Maybe it's from childhood. Maybe it's from yesterday. If you believe in past lives, it may be from a past life. Nikki, it's so nice. I love seeing these regulars. Good morning. Good morning, Nikki. I love seeing these familiar. Well, you're not a face in that. You're looks like a flower, but this familiar flower and name, I love. I just love this. So, yeah, Danny, I don't think it's important to get attached if you believe in past lives. It's like maybe it came, some emotion is like you see something and it triggered something. I really believe in cellular memory. I really have a belief in um, all of our experiences are stored in our body on a cellular memory. This is my belief system. And that's why I believe it's important to release emotions and not hold them or push them down or keep them stuck. So if I have the opportunity, for example, to be angry and yell, I don't need to yell hysterically out loud, but I can take a pillow and yell in my pillow. I've done a lot of like Osho meditations. If you've ever done dynamic meditations, which are really intense. So I would take a noodle and like hit a noodle and like, scream with the noodle and hitting the floor and like releasing this anger because it's not bad. It's just, it needs to come out. And if it doesn't come out, it may come out sideways to other people, which would be hurtful, right? And maybe when I was my younger version of me I would tantrum and yell at other people. And now I'm trying to be a better and better person and I'm trying to mature. Yeah, he does this dynamic meditations. Yeah. And you can even watch like YouTube dynamic meditations, and they are very intense 1 hour meditations, very intense. So, meditations don't have to be sit. I love to sit and be in silence and close my eyes and just, be and receive. But if there's really strong emotions, or feelings are needing to process. I needed, when I was going through heartbreak, for example, I was processing so many emotions and I couldn't just sit. I needed to release a lot of stuff. Anger and sadness and grief and all of the things. So I would find more dynamic meditations, shaking, dancing, just releasing stuff this way. But I don't know, share what you guys think about that. I don't sometimes I know exactly where the feeling is coming from. Grief, heartbreak, I know. But my anxiety, I don't know. It's like, where? So then I kind of question myself, but do we need to know? Like, why do you want to know exactly where? Maybe give a specific example if I didn't answer you specifically. So, Frankie, hi everyone. How do I distinguish between intuition and hope? I am always in my head, which can get frustrating. I know. A lot of people are in their head, right? That's why we're here. Practicing dropping into your body. I think your body is extremely intelligent. What do you mean by hope, though? Like, it's distinguish between intuition and hope. Oh, like desire, like wanting something. Yeah, Danny, you're always learning so much on these lives. Yeah, dynamic meditation, for sure, for anyone. It's they're free. They're guided because it's hard to do alone. Like, I could never do this alone. Usually have to do them in groups because it's really hard. Sometimes I do a dynamic meditation and I'm like exhausted for days after. It's quite intense if you want to release stuff. Yeah, look it up, dynamic meditation. Yeah, desire, Frankie. So I talked about this actually on a podcast I was recently on. Called Fire and Butterflies, if you guys want to check that out. But if you ever want to learn anything about me, you guys, I invite you to go onto my profile and you can see my website and you can see all like radio shows and YouTube channels and books and retreats and coaching and all of the things. So we actually spoke about this, Frankie, because for me, I kept getting these intuitive hits. 2 times, which were really profound interactions I had. And before I had these interactions with these 2 random people, my intuitive gut hunch desire was to go have ice cream. And both times, I said, no, I don't need ice cream. Like, ice cream is not good for me. I was like, one was right before meditation. Which it's not, for me, it's not good to eat ice cream before I meditate. And then another time it was, I was on a diet and I was really taking care of myself physically and I did not want any like garbage or sugar or any of that. But the message was so clear and it was like, go for ice cream. And everyone's like, oh yeah, that's an easy desire to like, intuition thing to follow. But I was against it. Like, so I was talking in this podcast about the difference of me desiring something to fill a void. I do love ice cream. Like, if I'm heartbroken or sad or not feeling good, I will go for sugar and ice cream to fill a void. So, that's like a desire of like, filling something. Or my intuition, very clean and very clear, like requesting something, go do this. And then me going like in my head going, no, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't need ice cream right now. This is not what I need. I don't want this. And my intuition saying again, like, go for ice cream. And both of those times, I ran into an old friend who I met her in Costa Rica and she happened to be in this small little town in Canada. And we happened to I drove past her as I was driving home from ice cream. She was at the ice cream shop, but that ice cream shop was too expensive. So I went to the gas station to get ice cream. But as I was driving back, I saw her right before she went into the parking lot to drive home. Like the mere chance of all of this lining up. And she was with friends and she had this gut instinct. She goes, I need to go for ice cream. So we both received this intuitive message at the same time, and we both acted on it. And it was the most magical moment to see one another and rekindle our friendship. And she told me about some retreats. I went to those retreats. Those retreats totally changed my world, opened me up. I have my best friends from that retreat now. Like, the ripple effect of that was crazy, but just by a small desire. This month, I followed a desire to go for ice cream again. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want ice cream. I don't want ice cream. I don't want ice cream. But it was like, go for ice cream. Very clear. And now I have like a new friend, super amazing neighbor. Like, and I had no idea this neighbor, like, I've never met this neighbor. He moved in 2 years ago and I never crossed paths with him. But because of that desire, well, to know my neighbors, to have friends, to, I wanted this, but my intuition said, go for ice cream. And then through ice cream, I was able to meet my neighbor. So I don't know, Frankie, if I answered your question. Yeah, go treat yourself. Yeah. But there is a difference. There is a nuance. There is a nuance to I just want everything, a desire, to really listening to those hunches. Sometimes they, a hope. Yeah. I want to talk about hope too. I hoped to have more community, to know my neighbors, to know more people, to have more friends. I wanted that. How was I going to get that? I don't know. I work from home. On a Saturday night, I'm in bed early and I'm reading by myself. I'm not out meeting people, but I feel that's how the magic of the universe knows what I need and where to go more than I do. I don't. I'm just my little person driving home. And then I receive this, go for this clear message, go for ice cream. And then usually I grab ice cream and I drive home. But that night I received the message. I had ice cream and I was like, okay. And then Saturday night, beautiful, beautiful night outside. And I received the message, go sit outside. I was like, oh my God, okay. So I went outside. I'm sitting on the step by myself Saturday night, watching all these people, families, couples. And then, this neighbor, I met this neighbor. He was there by himself, grabbed ice cream. He was with his dog. We started a conversation. Now I have a new friend. And it's just like, what? Like, we don't know, but we just have to follow these little intuitive hits, however they may come to you. Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions about intuition or desire, hope? At the beginning of our conversation today, we're talking about authenticity. Maybe this is a question I'd like to ask you guys. The people who are joined on today, are you guys, not intuitive, how authentic do you feel like you are? 1, meaning, well, 0 is like, I'm not living an authentic life at all. Who I am, what I want, my abilities, my dreams, it's not in alignment at all. Or 10 is like, I am living 100% authentically. I'm living my 100% authentic. I say everything authentically, even to my parents. Put it in the chat. I'm so curious. Because we were talking earlier. Yeah, 5. We were talking earlier. It's hard to be 100% authentic, living an authentic life. But first, I think this is the foundation. We need to be authentic before we can tap into that intuitive guidance. We need to first be clear about who we are. Sarah, nice to see you. 6. Anyone? 7? Nice. 6. Kelly. It's so fun to see. Welcome everyone who's joining in. We're talking about authenticity. How authentic do you think you are right now? 0, meaning not at all. 10, meaning 100%. Yeah. Kelly, thank you for sharing, JD. Such a beautiful message. I need to go now. It's close to midnight in Australia and working tomorrow. I know you're so amazing, Kelly. I should do earlier, even earlier insight time or lives for you. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Good night, Kelly. Melissa, nice to see you again. 7 or 8, and it drives my husband nuts sometimes. Tell me more, because he does not want the authentic truth all the time. There's also time and place, I did radical honesty workshops. Those are brilliant. And it's again respecting others where they're at. Like, may I share something with you right now? May I share my authentic truth with you right now? And some people may not be a capacity at that moment, and others, yes. Like in the morning, I'm a morning person. So for really intense subjects, I am present and open and receptive and calm and balanced early in the morning. But like past 9 p.m., like don't bring up anything to me, anything serious, because I'm irritable, I'm tired, I'll be reactive. Like I'm not a completely different person, but I state my boundaries. I tell people like, hey, this is not a good time to talk about this with me, but tomorrow morning, early in the morning, I'll happily discuss this. So being authentic with our needs, but also, yeah, our needs too, of what you can receive and share. So I'd love to learn more, Melissa. Sarah, my number used to be higher, but then I had kids. So I'm trying to rediscover myself. I guess I'm still authentic, but I feel less aware of who I am than I used to be. Yeah. What do you think with children? What do you think has happened with children? More busy or more just focused on their needs? As a mom, you need to think about them all the time, kind of thing. Stopping to think about yourself, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Melissa says, yes, I'm pretty outspoken. And that's a good point. I don't always have the best timing. Yes, exactly. Authenticity is a beautiful. But we also need to respect the other. And, every moment we're changing. So, your husband may come home from work and he may have had a really hard day and you don't know. And you have all these things you need to share, but you both have to be authentic with like, hey, I'm not okay to hear you, and like, I'm not okay, I need to speak to you, and to create an action plan about that. Yeah, so Sarah, with children, everything changed, I bet. I'm not a mother. My body, my spirituality, my relationships, yeah. I would love to learn how your spirituality changed by becoming a mother. I'm so curious about that. How did your spirituality change? Maybe less time? Yeah. So welcome everyone. Anyone new who's joined in, you're encouraged to write where you're joining in from, or if this is your first live with me. These are really fun, informal discussions. We talk about anything that you want to bring up. The main idea is about intuition, living a life of more joy and ease. And I used to be extremely reactive, extremely angry, so angry, which I don't come across. I'm not angry anymore. I cleared that, but I would go to bed angry, wake up angry, sleep angry, super reactive, extremely anxious. And over the years, I just dropped more and more into trust, more and more into my feminine of receiving. I'm still a lot in my masculine of doing and doing. I know that masculine is action. We all have both within us, but more dropping into my feminine. And we all have masculine and feminine within us. That's why men are extremely intuitive. It's not only for women. Many men are, they may not say intuition, but it's for everyone. We all have it. It's about just trusting ourselves, having more and more trust. in that guidance, and we all receive guidance in a different way. So I have, premium courses that talk about this, reconnect your intuition. So it gives you signs on how to be intuitive. Yeah. Yeah, Elizabeth, good morning from California. Nice. Nora from Arizona. Ooh, so it's earlier. Wow. You guys are 2 or 3 hours earlier. It's amazing. We had California and then we had Australia and all the time differences. Sarah, so you said I had 2 miscarriages before giving birth to my 2 healthy kids. So that actually deepened my spiritual life a lot, in a lot of ways. Once the kids arrived, it was about learning how to stay connected to spirit, even though conditions were not always ideal. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. In our deepest grief, that's where I had my breakthroughs. My deepest grief. I've never experienced. You've experienced, Sarah, but there is a gift in grief. For me, it cracked my heart open. It cracked my spirituality open in my darkest days. And now you have 2 healthy kids. Yeah. So, and that's what we were talking about too. Actually, that's what I was talking about at one of the podcasts I just did that was just out yesterday. That we don't need, I was saying in this podcast, we don't need to be sitting in lotus position to meditate. And we meditate by being 100% present with our children. Being 100%, seeing, some children, well, we all have different love languages, but it's fun to know which love language each of your children has, or any partner or whoever, even coworkers. I use this for my clients. I know what love language, some like positive affirmations, some like time, some like gifts. So everyone's different how they feel loved and seen. And to connect to that, even my friends know my love languages. They know how to love me. Like, JD, we know you need help. We know your love language is acts of service. So I have my closest friends coming to my home this weekend to help me paint my deck. And they're just like, this is how I feel the most loved. Like, don't buy me things. Come and help me with my life, and they know this and they do this for me. And that's why they're my friends. But yeah, connecting to spirit is, I believe, being in the present moment. We hear this all the time, and it's so easy to say and so hard to do. And so for some children, it may be quality time. They just want quality time with you. Just, you don't even need to do anything, just sitting with them. Some may need like physical touch. So just holding them, hugging them, that's all they need. Not all, but it's like, some children don't want to be like, because I do coaching when I have my retreats and I talk to moms about this all the time. And they're like, I want to treat my children equally. And one wants to be touched and another doesn't. I'm like, well, respect their boundaries. One is telling you they want quality time. So sit with them. And the other wants physical touch. So that child, you can caress their back or whatever, but don't do what one doesn't want, because then we don't feel loved. We don't feel respected. If I say to a partner, I don't like gifts and I don't like flowers, and they're always buying me flowers, I get really, really angry. And they're like, why are you angry? I'm buying you flowers. I'm like, one, I don't feel respected. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. Like, it brings up a lot, just a bouquet of flowers. Not every woman is the same. I realize how disconnected we are. If I say something and they don't hear me or listen or value, it's a small example, but I think it's still important, So Danny, you're saying I have a different view on love languages. I never know what we're going to talk about today. Right now it's love languages. Maybe let's chat about it later, so as not to distract too much from the topic of today. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on mine. No, tell me. We're moving in. It's just a fluid and open Q&A. I have no agenda here. We'll talk and share. Right now is coming up is love languages. So I would love to know your thoughts on that, because I talk about this all the time. I for me, that was a game changer when I learned about love languages. Game changer for me and my relationships. Oh, sure. You have an interesting take on authenticity. I don't believe we should hide or alter our authentic self to meet others' needs. I believe it is always important to not self abandon and to always show up in our authentic self. I feel if we don't show up authentically in our relationships, we are technically not respecting the other person or ourselves. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts. Of course. Well, I 100% agree with you, Shar. Um, I don't, maybe, I don't know what you heard me say, but yes, I believe we need to be authentic with the partner. It's about respecting the other's timing. Not saying like, oh, you don't want to hear me, I'm not going to speak. No, it's like, I need to say something, I want to be authentic. When is a good time? When can you hear me? Not that I'm going to push this down and never share it. Because because then it can not be taken and not be accepted. I have an extremely high value for authenticity. But again, if I'm in bed, falling asleep, it's 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and someone wants to come in and be like, I want to be authentic with you. That's extremely disrespectful to me. And it's like, this my highest value is authenticity. I have tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Let's wake up and we'll talk about it. No problem. But right now I'm sleeping. Do you know what I mean? Do you see? That's kind of where I'm coming at, Shar. But I think 100% we should always be our authentic self. And it could be like, I'm really angry right now. And I'm really angry that you're going to sleep right now and that you don't want to talk to me. Great. I think you have every right to say that. But for me, if I'm going to sleep, I have every right to say, I hear you're angry and I need to sleep and I don't want to talk for 2 hours because I will be super overreactive. You know what I mean? Like, do you see what I mean? I feel like you were speaking to boundaries and respecting boundaries. Well, exactly. Yeah. Being authentic while respecting others' boundaries. Being authentic is edgy, super edgy, because often a lot of times we could talk about this, Char, like people pleasing. We want to people please. Oh, what do you need? Oh, what do you want? Instead of like, my sister said a really great example once. She was this was long time ago, but she was practicing this with a partner because she was always like trying to make her partner happy and pleasing, and they had plans to go like biking that night. Something simple. They came home from work and okay, I said I'm going biking and I really have a value of integrity with my word too. So when I commit to something, I'm really big on that. And I never want to cancel plans or change plans like that. It's a high value for me too. But it's like, well, what's a higher value? It's about, okay, is it authenticity is my higher value or integrity with my word? So it's always, life is complicated, right? And then finally she kind of was like, I want to practice authenticity, and just admitted, like, I know we had plans to go biking tonight and I am so exhausted. Like, that's like the last thing I want to do. I just want to name that. And then her partner was like, oh my God, I feel so relieved. I really didn't want to go. I'm exhausted too, but I know how important it is for you that I am a man of my word. And, we get into these like assuming and assumptions and all of the things. And it's like, oh, can we just practice authenticity? So yeah, Shar, you're saying I'm just speaking about being authentic and showing up as yourself. You can be authentic while respecting your own boundaries and others. Exactly. Yeah. I think we're saying the same thing, Shar. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Speaking up about being authentic. So I love the topic of authenticity, and I love we were talking about love languages too. So I want to hear Danny's perception of this. So you're saying your love language isn't necessarily how you feel loved. You can feel love in all 5 of them. Of course. Or maybe even a different one that isn't one of the main five. Ooh, like what? I would love to know that. What are some others of the non other five? Your top love language is really just what you are missing from your life or what you missed out as a child. So instead of looking at it as a love, it's feeling a hole from your past. Oh, I love that. Yes, I totally see that. I totally see that in myself now. Oh my God, yeah. So true. Oh my God, I love that. Everything stems from childhood. We should definitely do a whole live about childhood stuff. Um, yeah, because I think as children, we're extremely intuitive, we're extremely connected, we're extremely authentic, we share our emotions, and then all of that's beat out of us. So I'll give example. Yeah, so for example, for me, that live would be a day long. I know. We should just start that on Saturday. Saturday we'll do that. No, actually, I don't have very much time on Saturday because I'm having my deck party, my deck painting party. Uh, we'll see. I'll see how I feel. Or if you join, or maybe next Thursday. Or no, I'm not going to be here next Thursday. Shoot, we have to plan this. We have to plan this live because this is good. Um, I may not give you flowers, but there could be a gift I could give that would help you feel loved and appreciate it. It may not be as big as painting your deck, but it could still be loving. Yeah, no, exactly. And I'm very conscientious of that. Like I will always accept a chocolate bar. That to me is love. But a big grand gesture or like these bouquets of flowers I don't like. But if someone really knew me, if I love the sentence stem and authentic relating. This is great. You can use this with relationships, anyone, even in conflict. This is amazing for conflict. If you really knew me, you would know that. So maybe you receive a gift you don't like. If I've received a bouquet of flowers. If you really knew me, you would know that I don't like receiving flowers. I would much rather go for brunch. With that money spent, I'd much rather have a meal with you. Or I would love a little chocolate bar or something, like reframing of like what you really do want. Or in a conflict, if there's something like you're so mad at your partner. And it's like, if you really knew me, you would know that I value, gosh, what could it be? Integrity with your word. People who have integrity with their word. So when you make a commitment to go do an activity with me and you cancel last minute, I feel deeply hurt. It's this whole like nonviolent communication. It's much easier said in practice. Actually, it's not though. When I do coaching with some clients, really like really strong, confident. One time I coached someone very strong, confident, successful man, but practicing nonviolent communication in a really gentle coaching session was terrifying for him. Like we had to practice. Like he was so scared just to speak his needs, like practice speaking nonviolent communication. So of course it's practice for everything. Practice for intuition, practice being more authentic, practice all of that. But going back to filling some inner childhood void, yeah, when I was a little girl, I received so many gifts. Like Christmas, we were like the only grandchildren. We were spoiled silly, and I received. Now I don't do anything for Christmas. I don't buy anyone gifts. I don't want anyone to buy me gifts. I'm just like anti-gifts. Because as a child, I was just inundated with gifts. Then thinking back, my main love language is words of affirmation. So that's like the nicest thing you guys can do is give me like sweet encouragement and affirmation, because my inner child, I'm going to start saying that now, Danny. My inner child just loves that because I didn't receive that as a child. I was loved, I was adored, but like my dad, for example, he would never say all these nice things to me. He loved me, but he wouldn't say nice things. So as an adult, of course, that's what I want the most. That's what fills my inner child void. Oh gosh. Yeah, so Melissa's saying, "Oh, my favorite hand-picked flowers rather than a large bouquet." Yeah, can you tell that I have kids? I know a bouquet of dandelions, like the most precious gift, right? And as a little girl, I remember going to school, and I was such a generous young girl, and like going and picking all this bouquet of flowers for my teachers, and just with so much love, giving them to my teachers, and so precious. This intention, it's the intention behind things, right? I think the intention changes everything. Yeah, I'm very much words of affirmation because I didn't get it either. So now whenever I get a compliment, it fills me up, and I also doubt the compliment because it's hard for me to believe it. Yeah, it's hard to receive. Interesting how this is tying into intuition today. Welcome for all of the new meditators here. We're just talking about anything intuition. We're talking today about authenticity, love languages. And it's interesting because receiving any love language, receiving words of affirmation, or positive affirmations, compliments, gifts, physical touch, it's a practice of deep surrender and receiving, just like intuition. Intuition, we need to receive. So I think the more, maybe, Danny, as you practice being able to accept compliments and receive, it's also helping you for every aspect of your life. I don't know what's going on in your life, but accepting, it's like if you receive a compliment and you push that compliment away, or you doubt it, or what other things are you pushing away in your life? Are you pushing away money? Are you pushing away opportunities? Are you pushing away feelings? Are you pushing away desires? Like, what are you kind of resisting? So I think it's maybe a nice mirror of practicing receiving. Well, thank you. Anything you receive, thank you. Even through meditation. This has taken me a while because I'm someone who's very reactive. Less now. I'm much more zen and I'm much happier now. But back in the day, very angry and very reactive. And once I had someone come to my home, and this took me many years of meditation to master this. And she came to my home screaming and yelling, and I don't ever have that kind of energy. This was many years ago. Come to my home. And in meditation, we're taught that if people come with gifts of anger, animosity, mean things, she was spewing all these gifts at me. Just mean words and yelling and anger, and I felt all of my anger and boiling up, and I could have just spewed all these gifts back to her, which is maybe back in the day I would have been super reactive, and my mind would have just switched, and I would have been in anger. And when you're angry, you forget, you lose intelligence. Like, yeah. Anyways, and I remember being conscious in that moment and watching her scream at me and thinking to myself before reacting, she came here with gifts and I'm not going to accept those gifts. And I'm just not going to accept them. I was like, you need to leave. You need to leave my house. And without needing, I don't need to. She wanted me to react and she wanted me to get into a fight with her. And I was like, I'm not going to accept that. Like, you need to leave my home. But wow, that took me a long time of meditation to get to that place where I was in reactive mode with her. Yeah, so those are great questions. I actually need to run, which is so sad because this conversation is amazing, but I have a therapy session, so I guess that's a good reason to go. I have so much to talk about now. Thank you, everyone. Sorry I talked too much. No, don't apologize, Danny. I love your input, and thanks for being here today. I have so much to talk about now. Great. I don't know kind of the can of worms this live opened for maybe any of you, but you're always welcome. I just love being here, love doing these lives. You're encouraged to follow me on Inside Timer. I'm going to be doing another live this Saturday at an hour later than this time, because you guys are coming from all over the world, so I don't want to say a specific time, but an hour later than today. And you can come with any questions, any topics. I have no idea what we talk about, what will transpire. And that's kind of the fun and magic of it, of what the energies of all of us together will, what we're going to share and what we're going to help shift and maybe give each other ideas or insights or things to ponder or things to reflect. So thank you again, everyone, for your presence. I'm so grateful to be here. And I look forward to seeing all of you again on Saturday.